Welcome to B2B Marketing Unlocked, the podcast that helps CEOs, business leaders, and marketing executives unlock brand growth. In each episode, I bring on industry experts to share their journeys, lessons learned, and the marketing secrets that drive results, while also sharing my own strategies along the way. I'm your host, Jony Mansilla, founder of Jony Studios, where we help businesses create profitable podcasts and content that drive growth. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of B2B Marketing Unlocked. Today we have Ricardo Rios. He is the head of marketing and growth at Atlas Invest. Ricardo, thank you for coming on.
Hi, Jony. How are you?
Good. I want to jump in and just ask you, how did you first get into B2B marketing or your current role?
It's a great question. What got me into B2B marketing was mainly growth and customer acquisition. So I've been doing growth for the past 15 years and mainly for consumer brands and global brands. But then I decided to move into the B2B side, and I wanted to bring this expertise from the B2C side into B2B. And I also wanted to get invested into a full system around growth that would have interactions with other teams, like sales teams. And that was what was attracted me to B2B first. Then I saw the opportunity to tackle B2B marketing in the real estate industry, which is a huge industry, as you know. And that was what ultimately connected me to B2B.
Wow, right on. And how does it differ for you, B2C to B2B?
Completely different, even though you're applying similar, tactics or skills, the processes are different, right? When you have a B2C campaign, you're tackling with one individual user, one individual buyer, and you're essentially trying to get that buyer to buy your product, your service. When you have a B2B approach, you're tackling a business, and there are decision processes that go into buying something or taking a service on. So that process is usually longer. And it was something that I needed to adjust to, because on the B2C side, you see a conversion path that takes a few days, but on the B2B side, that
Stretches
could be
out.
a few weeks or maybe even longer.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is very different, but the tactics, the skills that you apply are very, very aligned to what I've grown with.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, that's a common thing. The sales cycles just are a lot longer. Obviously depends on the industry you're in, but you have to be more patient, right? More touch points.
A lot more patience, a lot more touch points. And also, like you said, understanding your audience, right? Maybe your audience is composed by a manager, but also a director that you have to convince. So there are different layers that you need to tackle. And in my case, I'm targeting or doing marketing for brokers, commercial brokers, and they come with a bag of clients too. So the interactions with them, the touch points, like you mentioned, the relationship is very, very important. And then the other piece, which I always say is both on the B2C side and the B2B side, is trust. But trust is even bigger and more important, I believe, in the B2B side.
Yeah, for sure. You need to have that trust there. And what does your marketing team currently look like? Is it just you? Do you have other people you work with on a day-to-day? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, in terms of cross-functional partners, I do work a lot with the capital market side of the business. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown on what we do, Atlas Invest is within the real estate industry. We do bridge loans. We focus on bridge loans where we have a marketplace essentially, and we tackle both sides of the business, the broker side, the borrower side. So whoever needs a bridge loan, and then the investor side is whoever is essentially bringing the money for that. So we tackle both. And my job is to bring you both. I'll bring brokers, borrowers, and I will also bring you investors. The cross-functional teams that I work with are capital markets, which is the investor side of the business. I work with a sales team, which at Atlas, we call them originators team. There is an underwriting team and analyst team that deals with all the deals that we get from our brokers. So that is a team that I also interact with very closely. And then you have your product team, you have finance, which, can be your best friend and can be your best enemy, maybe.
Especially as a marketer,
yes.
The marketing dollars here.
Yeah, especially because, marketers like to spend, but finance doesn't. So, but I have a great relationship with my CFO. I deal with product as well. And in data, which is another team, R&D, they are the teams that I interact the most with. Now, in terms of my team is mainly composed by the creative and design side of things. So I have a creative director that focuses on helping me with anything brand related and anything creative related. I have then a marketer, essentially an associate that helps me with all deployments, campaigns, and things like that. And because we are a very AI focused and AI based company, we do a lot of our efforts with agents nowadays, which is completely different to when I started my career. You needed someone to do anything, right? Now you have an AI agent that is trained to do anything you may need, from setting up a new creative set to running a report. So those are those are agents that we are building internally with our AI tools.
That's so fascinating. And yeah, we're doing something similar as well. You have to, now it's such a shift because you can give so much context to the AI, right? You can upload documents, you can upload workflows, you can have it so trained on what you do. Now it's so different how we're, now we're going to work and it's a lot of dealing with AI and customer journey. So I think that's why things like this is so important. Like you said, relationships and being able to talk to other humans, especially as this is advancing so much,
Yes.
So does everyone on your marketing team use AI or?
Everyone. You have no idea. I know, I mean, you might have heard this also with other partners, but a lot of people say, yeah, we use AI on our everyday work, which I believe, but the amount of AI that we use at Atlas is incredible. So the majority of the team uses it. We do have partnerships with, the Claudes and the OpenAIs, but we also have built internal AI tools that we use for our everyday work as well as our product that we sell. We're selling a platform essentially to investors, and that platform is built within AI. So that is an everyday use for us. And it's fascinating.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, I think that's where the real advantage comes, right? Once you actually start getting into the custom software side of things and building it to your specific workflows, the sky's the limit.
Exactly. Yes, the sky's, and that is a challenge also, because then you start, at least me, I get into these rabbit holes of trying to optimize every journey and optimize every campaign. And AI allows you to, to have that soundboard of asking and receiving and giving ideas. So it's fascinating, especially like you said. So we're building journeys, we're building automated campaigns, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we're building relationships with our consumers or our customers. So we have to make sure that there is that integration between everything that AI can do and can help us do, but then building on that connection, that relationship that we have with our audience.
That's awesome. And I heard somewhere recently that one thing that's really important now with so many people using AI is your taste, right? People are going to be hiring you for your taste, right? Because you can easily see something that AI creates and it's amazing, but you can also see something that AI creates and it just sounds like a robot, right? So it's how are you fine tuning it in the way to make it sound a bit more human, a bit more from your brand voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because AI, I mean, I'm sure you've used that. You ask ChatGPT for one thing and they tell you one thing. And then you say, but I heard that there was something else going on regarding this thing. And then they correct themselves. They
Yeah,
say,
they're like, "Oh, you're
ChatGPT,
right,
no, you're
exactly." So
right.
you also
So
can't just be like, "All right, it's going to be 100% perfect," because
right. So you can. And that is that is exactly what you're saying, right? The essence of your experience, the essence of what you learned in your career and will be highly valuable as an
Mhm.
asset moving forward. AI will be able to do a lot of things that we currently do, but the ideas that come from humans, the experience that comes from,
Mhm.
your jobs and your everyday life, that is the tone, the essence, that brand that you bring to things. And that's kind of what you're saying, that companies are going to start hiring your taste rather
Mhm.
than, what you do essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And tell me, what's your opinion on the fear around AI? It's already happening. Companies are realizing they don't need as many people as long as they're really AI versed and they can produce great outcomes with all these agents, for example. Um, do you have a fear around that about like, all right, where's the human component gonna go? I get, or are our jobs just gonna shift? Like, what's your
Yeah.
perspective?
It's a great question. So I'm going to answer this in two different ways.
Mm,
Both sort of go towards the same direction. The first one is my own fear. I'm not afraid of it. I welcome it. It's exciting to me. Uh, what is going to be interesting is going to be what is the right formula? How much AI do you use for your work? And how much human do you need for that? And what is that formula? Finding that formula for me is the most interesting piece. It
mm,
doesn't it doesn't worry me. I'm not afraid of my job being not needed. I'm more excited about that combination of those two things. Now I'm
mm,
gonna say the other piece, which obviously with the previous company that I worked at and now with Atlas, I am involved or in front of a lot of VC investors. And the common denominator with all of these conversations that we've been having is that they want automated things. They don't want humans. They want AI.
mm,
That
mhm.
is what I'm seeing a lot of. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think that that's going to be probably a huge change in the work environment. But I think we're humans and we adapt to things. We're going to have to find our unique value that we bring that AI cannot replicate. Yes, but that shouldn't worry people. That should excite people, I
Mhm.
think, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you
Like the,
feel?
yeah.
Like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think we're in a similar boat.
Yeah.
One thing that gives me a bit more reassurance, I know it's different, but it's similar in some senses. A lot of people thought when ATMs came out, for example, that the bank teller jobs, there's going to be no jobs at the banks anymore,
Yeah.
right? But what ended up
Yeah,
happening
sure.
is they just have higher leverage opportunities where it's like, they can help people open up different accounts and be there to
Yeah.
service them, but they don't have to be counting the money
Yeah.
like the ATMs would do or like the bank tellers would do, right?
Totally.
So I think there's going to be a huge shift, but yeah, I think what's going to be most important is your strategic thinking, your taste, your human connection. That's going to be
Yeah.
so crucial in being valuable, right? Figuring out ways, how can you be useful with AI, but with your human sense, your experience, that's all
Correct.
valid, like what
Yeah.
you're telling me right now, it's all from your experience. It's not something AI could just randomly make up, right? It's your
Correct.
lived experience. So
Yeah.
that's going to be
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Let me ask the question to you. How has AI changed your business?
Oh, it's changed it a lot. It's one of those things where you have to be careful too, because you go fully all in, right? And then you start realizing some of its limitations, and it's so easy to be caught up in the next thing, because like we started in
Yeah.
ChatGPT, we had everything there, and then Claude was doing so good. Then we
Yeah.
added that as well, but then ChatGPT had all the context, and there's ways to kind of make the transfer, but now it's funny, we're using both. So we're using a multitude of tools, and we're starting to realize some are better for others, but they're innovating so much, Ricardo, that it's crazy. Like Claude will make an update, and then you'll realize ChatGPT just made an update that made it even better. And you're just like, oh my gosh, all right. Like there's just so much. So I think in the end, it's like whatever tool you're getting really good at using, just like fully context is the most important thing, right? Yeah. Just like an employee, it has to be well trained. They have to have the experience, and they have to know, most importantly, understand your business, your clients, your customer journey. And then that can really be useful, right?
And what you're looking to do, right? Like what you're looking to do and understand that is all of that context background that you mentioned. It's like you said, you have a new employee coming on board. If you don't give them any materials, the person is going to be lost. But if you give them all the materials, the person can learn, educate themselves, and then be able to apply, their own reasoning, their own analysis to the work they're doing or they're bringing to the company. And to the updates and the different tools, yes, I was in love with one of them, I have to say, before... I'll say before Atlas, so maybe like 3 months ago, I was in love with one product. Now I'm in love with another product. So it is interesting how these few companies are like competing with themselves. I have a very close friend that works at OpenAI, and he always complains about Claude because Claude always releases updates faster than OpenAI.
It keeps them both really competitive,
right? Yes. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are moving from one to the other, and I use both. I'm going to be between those two. I use both. One I use more for work. The other one I use more for personal. I think it's fascinating. I don't think it's going anywhere, to be completely honest. So embracing it.
It's interesting. I think the fear side for me is more so for the businesses and people that are not embracing it. There's always the later adopters, right? That are just kind of like, I don't want to touch AI. I don't want to ask it anything. I don't want to leverage it. Yeah. Those businesses are going to have a really hard time because you're going to have teams of 10 with teams of 2 outperforming them if they're not leveraging the tools they have, right? So that's the scary part, where they're going to have to innovate, or, just like in anything, right? You get left behind.
I completely agree. Without disclosing any names, I used to work for a company that was much bigger, was a public company. Mm-hmm. I met up with my former directors that reported to me, and they were hungry to do AI base activities, but the companies, because they're bigger, they're slower. Integrating AI into processes, into systems, into thinking goes way slower. So yes, to your point, there are gonna be companies that are going to move way slower with AI, and those are probably the ones that are going to be more hurt. In my experience, the work that I did before with a 40-person team, I think I can do it with less than half of that. Wow. So it's fascinating.
It's real. The value is real.
That is real. So we're going to have to figure out as humans what else we can do, and what value we can bring and what essence we bring. But again, to me, exciting. We're growing. Things are changing. I see it every day. And the work is going to continue to be even stronger and better, I think.
For sure. Now, going back to your work at Atlas, I know you already touched on this, but tell me about who's your ideal target market? Like if you said, give me the exact avatar we really like servicing and it's the perfect fit for us, who would that be?
Yeah. So if I talk about the deal flow side, so the brokers, borrower side that is looking to do a bridge loan, I would say commercial brokers. That's my fast and quick answer. Those are the ones that I'm looking for a few reasons. One, they come with a bag of clientele. So they come with multiple deals, which I'm interested in. we once you have a relationship with a broker, that relationship, even though it's hard to get, it's a long-term relationship. So it's like having, a long-term partner rather than having, a situationship, like people call it
Yes.
nowadays,
Yeah.
So those two, so one, because they bring more clients to us and they bring multiple deals, and two, because of those relationships that are long term. So that would be the ideal type of ICP on that side of the business. If I'm talking about the capital market side of the business that we're looking for investors to come to the platform and invest in the bridge loans that we have, for that one, I would say we call them passive investors, which are investors that want us to manage their accounts. So those are the ones that we want. We want institutional investors that want their investments to be managed by a company. So those, to us, are the priority in terms of ICP for the capital market side.
Nice. And what's working best for you guys to
Oof.
attract these people, either in the brand awareness side or just in pipeline in general?
That is the $1 million question, my friend, the $1 million question. So in terms of what's working best, right? What I can tell you, without being too specific, just because of data and privacy, the broad marketing language for us has not worked. In this category, mainly, it does not work. So we have to be very real, very specific, and very to the point. That's the way our audience reacts. So in terms of brand awareness, when we talk about brand consideration, when we do activities in terms of brand, everything is to build trust and to show you what we can add value to you on. And that is the way we do. And brand for us has a lot on LinkedIn. We are doing a lot of podcasts that is working for us. We have I believe we have a very interesting product that people are interested in learning about the product. So to give you an idea, a bridge loan can take up to maybe 2 months to close, sometimes a few more weeks. We can close that in 7 days. So the fact that we have that speed is very appealing to people. So that's why podcast has worked for us in terms of brand awareness. And then you have your Meta. Meta, even though it's my best friend, it can also be, my enemy, but Meta has been working tremendously for us in terms of leads and in terms of brand awareness. So for both purposes, performance is our focus, growth is our focus. We will focus on that side rather than brand. But as I came on the team, I want to make sure that we're not abandoning brand. We're not leaving that behind. We're integrated into our efforts, but the focus will continue to be performance and growth. And right now, Meta works the best. A lot of life cycle emails through our existing audience. And one other thing that has been working tremendously, even though it's not paid, it's SEO. A lot of people that are looking for this so specific type of loan, they have a specific keywords that they look for. And we are investing a lot on SEO, AEO, as you know, with AI now too. So those are the channels that have been working the most. I would have loved for TikTok to work for us, even though, it works for many people. It does not work for us. Right now.
It's so different depending on the industry. But that's fascinating that you said that. Like, same for us. A majority of our clients come organically from SEO and AEO, right? Like, that's going to be the future, especially with AI search. It's crazy how even that is changing. But what I like about it is the client comes to you, right? So that puts you in such a different position than, for example, cold emails, right? Where you're kind of like trying to figure out the hook and you're testing out so many different variations. With this, they already researched your website. And like you said, to your point, they already kind of saw a lot of similar things that was great awareness, right? Where there's like, all right, that's building the trust for me. And then they go and then they kind of reach out to you. That's like
Yeah.
the ideal world. But yeah, you definitely need to invest in that to kind of create the
If
content to to be the leader in that, right?
Yeah. And like I mentioned to you, having finance as your best friend or your enemy and your CEO as well, obviously, building a business case for SEO for folks that do not understand it, do not know it that much, it can be daunting because SEO is not fast. That's the other thing. SEO
Yeah.
moves
It's a
a
long
little
play.
bit slower. It's a long
Yeah.
play, correct? And sometimes we want results, or founders, CEOs, even me, I want results right away. But SEO is not going to bring you that right away. With the right tactics, the right moves, the right content, the right approach, that will happen. Traction will happen. You can support that with some SEM and some branded SEM. But I think SEO is huge. And especially again for an industry like ours, where there's a lot of education to be done. There's a lot of news in terms of closed deals. You also mentioned, sorry, I forgot to mention this, but you mentioned brand awareness. One partnership that we did at the beginning of this year with BlackRock was huge for us. That brought us a lot more brand awareness and that credibility, given that we are a new business. So we wanted investors, we wanted brokers, borrowers to believe in us, to have trust in us. And I think a partnership with such a big name, that helped tremendously.
That's amazing. And we already talked about the AI tools, but are there any other tools you guys depend on a day-to-day, whether that's like just software that's common in the marketing space? What comes to mind?
It's a great question. So the one that I have to say out loud quickly would be Airtable. So essentially a database that also can be a CRM. So for me, the tools that I have to see and work on every day are a database that we have and a CRM that we have. Those are the two that we work, or that I work on very much every day. But also there is your email campaign, your email tool, which we use an email tool that allows us to do automations, but also monthly sends and journeys, and think about that personalization, customization. That's another strong tool for us. And then the other one would be the Meta, given that a lot of our paid efforts for performance are coming on Meta. Ads Manager is my best friend, so I see that tool on a daily basis. So those are a few of the tools that I cannot live without right now.
That's amazing. And yeah, I guess it's so dependent on industry. Meta, you do get a lot of leads, but it is hard to crack depending on your industry. How do you guys approach ad making? Do you guys test out different creative over time? Have you, I guess, found ones that perform a lot better versus others? Tell me about your experience in that.
I come from a media background. I did marketing for media companies in the past, and having great creative was always top of mind, and having recent creative was always top of mind. What do I mean with that? Changing your creative frequently was part of what made my campaigns strong in the past. So that's something I learned throughout the years. And when I joined Atlas, one of the things that I wanted to make sure I do was do an audit of all creatives we have facing users and understanding what's working, what's not working. So that was not only from a copy perspective, but also a framework of the asset, and also the sequence of the asset. And I do change creatives on a bi-weekly basis. So every 2 weeks, I'm changing creatives. The tests are run every 2 weeks as well. And those creatives will follow either value propositions that we lean on, which for us are fast, speed, we can close in 7 days. So there are tangible things that brokers react to and our audience reacts to. So those are the type of messagings that I will always continue to optimize and to test. And the creative making goes, I work very closely with my creative director. We come up with ideas. We come up with out of the box ideas that follow real estate, of ideas that do not follow real estate, and we are always trying to innovate those. And I think that is what's making our campaigns work. You have no idea how many vendors have tried to poach me to run the campaigns on Meta over the past 3 months, and all they offer is this speed in terms of changing the creatives, optimizing creatives to what people are reacting to. So reading those data points, reading the performance will always give you a good read on what to change on the creative. And that alongside with where you're sending people to. So for instance, you're seeing an ad on your Facebook or your Instagram, you're tapping on that and you're getting to the company website, but the company website is talking about something completely different. You're going to lose your audience there. So for me, it's understanding that journey, making sure that that journey works, and applying those key value propositions that people have reacted positively to.
Nice. That's awesome. And that's so true. Yeah. The more you test, the more data you actually get on what people resonate with. And I think the most surprising thing that people don't usually see is that when you do that, sometimes what you think is best is not always the case. I think like as a marketer, you can understand that, right? Like there's something where I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful ad. It's going to do so well. And then you have an ad that is more real. It doesn't look as polished and it performs better, right? So you're like, what? Or even the colors. There's so much that can go into the A/B tests, right?
You know what that tells me? And jokingly, maybe it's like people don't have taste, It's like, it's so funny. It's like, but that obviously means that I have taste, which like maybe I don't. So, but it is so true. So one of the things is I have dark mode on my phone, on my computer, everywhere. So I love like a dark premium color to creatives. Dark never works.
No,
you
need
campaigns.
You need bright.
Never. And then I switched. So we had like a black. We use black darker for investors. We use orange lighter for brokers. So I thought, let's apply some black and some darker colors to creatives. None of them work. So yes, a lot of the times, you may think that one creative is going to perform so well, but then when you run it and you test it, you actually realize it doesn't.
Yep. All right, Len, let's go the opposite route. What is your biggest challenge you guys are facing right now?
Ooh. It's a great question. There's a couple, I would say. One of them is we are in a very niche industry. We do bridge loans. It's within real estate. We don't do residential. We do the commercial side of residential. We have a specific box. The box, we call it a box when you have essentially what interest rate you're going to target, how much value you're going to bring to the investor as a return. So we have a specific box, and because we are so targeted in a way, and that is out of choice, we decided to build this product. Finding the people that will want this specific product can be challenging, and finding different ways to get those people, that's also challenging. And I think the added challenge to that is we want to be across all US states, but there are a few states that we're still not in. And those states, or a few of those states that we're not in, have high propensity to have bridge loans. So that's a challenge for us that we've been trying to tackle and figure out how to either partner with a company that would allow us to do bridge loans within those companies, or bringing new people that would allow us to do business within those states. And so I would say those are the sort of two challenges that I see. In terms of marketing, though, what I would say the main challenge I currently have right now is understanding what is the right formula to bring qualified leads, and making sure that the company understands that that's the direction that we need to go to, right? So if you talk to a founder, if you talk to a CEO, you're going to hear that they want more traffic, they want more leads. One of the things that I've been able to do at Atlas is making sure that people understand we're not just trying to bring any raw leads. We're trying to bring qualified leads. We're trying to bring those people that will bring business to us. And in order to do that, the investment has to be there. The process may take a little bit longer, but the outcome is going to be much stronger. So that framework of things, changing from bringing raw leads to bringing qualified leads, has happened, in a couple of months at Atlas. So that's been great. So now it's implementing that framework in the actual work. So that is changing or optimizing, growing the relationship that marketing has with sales, making sure that we're tied together, making sure that we have a combined goal, and that we're helping each other. Because I may bring qualified leads, but if at the end of the day the sales team doesn't close that hurts the business. So understanding that the framework now is we're bringing qualified leads, we need to make sure we close those leads. So that process, I think, is now the exciting part of my job right now.
Nice. That's awesome. And that's so true. I remember we had a client and we were bringing a large volume of leads, right? But not all of them were qualified, right? Some of them may be too small, not the right fit. And
Right.
when you make some adjustments and you really narrow down, you're going to get less because they're the right fit.
Correct.
But would you rather have fewer right fit exact match leads that can bring a lot more lifetime revenue to the company? Or would you like the satisfaction, the fake dopamine hit of having so many leads you don't know what to do with, but they're all the wrong fit, maybe like one here or there? What's better, right? So as marketing side, you really have to be like, okay, we want the lead quality to improve. Obviously, we want a lot more, but it's going to be harder to get that volume at scale, depending on your market, obviously, in B2B, to get the right specific ones. And then that's less pressure on sales. They can put all their effort on the right leads, not be like, not be trying to figure out which ones,
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, imagine, right? Like you're a marketer with me, we're on the same team, we'll bring 100 leads. And out of 100 leads, only 10 of them are qualified. So they have to go through 100 calls, 100 emails, whatever it is the touch point is, to get to those 10. But if I bring you 50 and you still convert 10, that will be better, because that is stronger qualified leads, and you don't invest the time in calling every lead or emailing every lead that is not qualified. But to your point is making sure that, everyone is behind that, right? Because that could also make your numbers look lower because you're bringing less traffic. And that could also make your costs higher because you're paying a little bit more for qualified leads rather than paying less for any type of lead. And so making sure that this is an understanding across the organizations is always something that I keep in mind. Even when I was in B2C, same thing. You can invest a lot of marketing dollars in bringing new people, but if those people are going to leave your service, leave your product right away, then you're wasting the money. You have to focus on people that are going to retain and retain longer. And that is the key.
Yeah, that is so true. And again, focusing on that niche, I think even in our space with B2B podcasting, right, we tell our clients this, or even our prospects before they kind of want to work with us. We say, a lot of people think of podcasting, they think of Joe Rogan, right? Or they think of like a Diary of a CEO, and they think of millions and millions of views. And yeah, that's great. But in B2B, that doesn't matter. You don't need millions and millions of views. You need the right viewership with the right ICP. And that's what brings the biggest return on investment. Like you said, right? Like in your service line, you have that specific, and it's like, it's hard to reach them. But what if you could actually reach them? Those listeners, those viewers, those are way more valuable than 100,000 people that don't have any budget. There's teenagers in the bedroom, so it's way different from like not being the next Joe Rogan. It's about being like very specific and really value focused on that niche and what they need.
And that is, I mean, you brought up podcast, and that is why podcast is working for us. Because this is such a niche space. Real estate overall is huge. There's a huge market for it, but there is different areas in real estate, and this one is very specific. And what I've learned in the few months that I've been at Atlas is that even though it's very specific and very niche, people are very engaged, and they are really engaged within the forums or platforms that they're on. So if they listen to a podcast, let's call it a Best CRE podcast, it's a podcast that is across all platforms, the audience is very engaged, and it's the right audience to tackle for a company like Atlas. So I think these opportunities that we've been able to have are really helping our brand and really helping getting in touch with those folks that are within our niche. And even though podcast is still for us more mid-funnel, top-funnel effort, it's still something that is bringing us consideration, bringing us more traffic. People are searching the brand. So it is super interesting to see that evolution. When I started marketing, podcasts did not even exist. I brought podcasts at Spotify, I remember back in the day, and when I worked at Spotify, and that was still something that people did not even listen to that much. And now it's huge, and it's global, exploding. And it's exploding even more. So I think it's a great opportunity for us, and I'm glad that it's, working for you.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think the reason it's exploding, going back to our previous conversation, is I think the more popular AI gets, the more people are going to want to listen to just real humans, right? Like, that's what I love about listening is like right now, we're just discussing your experience. We're discussing things that have worked for both of us and haven't worked. I think that's super there's so much value in that. Right.
Yeah, I think you have a safe job. Is what we're, AI is not going to take your job.
Well, you never know, right? The AI voices are pretty good. I don't know, but we'll see.
We do use AI. We had a service with AI calls. I tested it. It wasn't the right partner, unfortunately, but I do think that people are way more receptive to AI calls and AI voices. Even my mom is, which I never thought she would. And it's fascinating. But you still have a job, don't worry.
So it's so funny you bring that up. I have a friend, and he runs a digital agency for trades, right? So for contractors, like people that do homes and things like that, they're not very tech savvy. And he was showing me that he set up this system where they kind of they can use this, and it's like their own virtual person that calls the lead, and it's all an AI voice. But he showed me the voice, and I couldn't start laughing because it was like a seductive woman voice. It was like, "Hello, how's it going?" I'm like, "Okay, I don't know about that." Like,
Hey,
I know
you never know.
there's a lot,
Maybe
there's a
it
lot
works.
better. Yeah, maybe
Maybe it works.
Maybe because of the contractors, right? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this
You
is
never
crazy.
know.
It's like, ask me any questions you have, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
It's crazy where the tools are headed. That's the point of that, right?
Yeah. And in any language, that's the other thing. I worked before, the company that I worked for before, we targeted Hispanics. We targeted the Spanish-speaking audiences in the US, and seeing how AI can help us with that too was extremely amazing.
Yeah. So it's incredible. It's incredible where we're headed. It's exciting. I want to move to a quick fire round. So basically, I'm going to ask you a few questions and just whatever pops up in your head. What's a marketing resource, habit, or tool you recommend? Is there like a book or anything like that?
Wow, that's a great question. So I'm going to answer this incorrectly, maybe, but this is my approach. As a marketer, you need a mentor. Whether that mentor is a tool, whether that mentor, for me, my mentor is a person, is a professional. He's a CGO now. Have a mentor. It's always helpful.
Wow, that is great. And that brings me to my next question. Who's someone who's recently influenced your marketing? It could be a celebrity. It can be someone within your space. It can just be anyone that's influenced how you do marketing. Not your entire style, right? But someone that you look up to.
He is a CGO for a venture capital firm here in the city. I met this individual 13 years ago when he was a brand marketer and I was a growth marketer. So we did not align back in the day. We did not see eye to eye. We continue. He had his own consulting agency back in the day. He wanted me. I was working at the New York Times. He wanted the New York Times to be a partner. Ultimately, we decided not to move forward, but he stayed in my circle. And then I lean on him to learn a lot about brand, a lot about creative. And he leaned on me to learn about growth. And now he does not believe in brand. He's all growth.
Oh, wow.
He's a CGO.
Okay.
He does not. He says brand is whatever. We need to invest in growth, performance. So he's someone that has influenced my career, but also B2B, because he's in the B2B space. So that's one individual that I would say.
That is awesome. And that's a great point. If you have a certain skill in marketing or whatever, that's a great trade to kind of both expand your knowledge, expand your ideas, and get better results. Last question. What's advice you would give to your younger self?
Continue to be resilient and don't stop learning. So throughout my career, I studied in finance and I did not like it. And it's so easy to say, I don't like it, I give up, I'm going to continue in finance. Or it's so easy to say, I don't like it, I give up, I'm not going to do anything. But I think in every moment, I did not see giving up as an option. I did not see continuing to do something that I don't like as an option. So I pushed through that and I got to marketing because it's what I wanted to do. And then throughout my career, when I was at Disney back in the day, I had to lay people off. And that is one of the hardest things of my career, hardest things to do in my career. So be resilient, be strong, and don't stop learning is because I feel like in order for me to grow as an individual or as a professional, I need to learn and I want to learn. So that's something that I will tell myself.
Wow. Great advice. Let's end on that note. Ricardo, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's great to see you again. And again, thank you. Thank you so much for the time. Hope you enjoy this as much as I did.
Oh, I did. That's it for today's episode of B2B Marketing Unlocked. I hope you found valuable insights to help you grow your brand and scale with confidence. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Want to unlock the power of podcasting for your business? Visit jonystudios.com. That's JONY studios.com, where we help businesses create profitable podcasts and content that drive growth. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.